Jeremy had always known a life of quiet routines. Roosters crowing before the sun, boots crunching over dry dirt, and hands calloused from tending the same soil his grandfather once did. Life in the countryside wasn't easy, but it was honest, predictable, safe. Until one morning, it wasn't. It started with the crops. First, a late frost destroyed the early tomatoes. Then came a strange dryness that cracked the ground and stole the life from the corn. Jeremy tried not to panic. Just a bad year, he told himself. But deep down, fear began to take root. Fear he couldn't afford to admit out loud. What made it worse was the silence. No one in town really talked about failing seasons. They just nodded, spat in the dust, and kept moving. But Jeremy felt it, like a storm building in his chest, quiet and suffocating. That's when it hit him. The land wasn't the only thing drying up. He sat one night on his porch, watching the sun dip behind the hills, and whispered, "What if I'm not strong enough?" His voice trembled. The quiet was his only reply. The next day, he visited old Mrs. Clara, the 82-year-old neighbor who still chopped her own wood and made the best apple butter in the county. He didn't expect anything, just brought her some eggs he couldn't sell. But when she opened the door and saw the wear in his eyes, she didn't say a word. She just pulled him into a hug. "Life's been testing you, hasn't it?" she whispered. Jeremy's knees buckled. Tears came. Years of held-in doubt, failure, and fear. He cried like a boy, and she just held him. Then she told him something he'd never forget. The land isn't punishing you. It's inviting you to listen. Over the next weeks, Jeremy did just that. He stopped fighting to control everything, started waking up just to walk the fields, not to fix them, but to understand them. He noticed things he hadn't before. The way the wind shifted near the oaks, how the bees clustered near the wildflowers. He spoke to other farmers who admitted their own losses and struggles. The silence cracked open and stories poured out like spring rain. One day he decided to try something new. Instead of replanting the usual corn, he switched to lavender. A risk, but one that matched the new rhythm he'd found. The first harvest was small, but it sold faster than anything he'd grown before. The scent of hope drifted through his little farmhouse again. Jeremy learned that sometimes life doesn't test you to break you. It tests you to wake you up. It strips away what you thought was certain, so you can find something deeper, stronger, more true. When life feels like it's falling apart, it might actually be falling into place. The pain you feel is not a weakness, it's a signal, an invitation to pause, listen, and shift. And sometimes the most powerful strength is the courage to let others in, to cry when you need, and to grow in a new direction. Maybe you're being tested right now. Maybe you're in the middle of your own drought. But don't give up. Listen closer. Trust deeper. Your lavender season might be closer than you think. If this story touched you, keep watching. Each story is a chance to learn, grow, and remember, you're not alone.